I do not
Yeah,
miss the crash out mid-festival of being, like, so exhausted and being like, fuck, I've got to take another tab tonight. Like, you know? But like,
does
the
everybody
high...
hate me? Fuck! What's up, folks? Welcome back to the Best Show Ever podcast, the podcast where I interview people about the best shows they have ever seen in their lives. I'm your host, Cam Herdt, in a brand new recording, we'll call it a studio. The last space, just so you guys know, was not a studio. That was the living room in my house that I was living in. We've recently moved. That's a big reason why we haven't had any episodes out recently, is because I've been figuring out my studio space here, which is also, again, just my living room. Again. Still have not completely figured that space out yet, but there has been some conversations that I've been like dying to record. And so in lieu of cool background, there's not a cool, like, if you're just listening on Apple Music, I hope you're not listening on Spotify. Fuck those guys. But if you're listening just the audio version of this, you're doing great, because there's no cool background. It's just like my couch and my TV in my living room. That I can't turn the whole living room into a podcast studio. I hope you understand that. It's not going to go well with my fiance, as much as she just loves podcasting. She doesn't listen to a podcast at all. Barely listens to this one. Anyway, we are going to be talking about shows today. And we are going to be talking to someone who has already been on the podcast with their partner, someone who has not been on the podcast. We are talking to Maddy Schroeder and Andrew Sax, a couple friend of mine. I love both of these guys so much. They have been huge parts of my life over the last couple of years here. We've become incredibly close buddies, chatting about a ton. But in the last year, it's actually been a little under 9 months, and I'll let them talk about it here in a little bit here. But Maddy and Sax have been completely sober over the last 9 months, since last February. And so that means they've been going to shows completely sober. These are folks who don't mind partaking, you know, and at a very least, these are pot smokers just like me. They didn't partake in any of that. For the last 9 months, they have not been smoking cigarettes. They have not been smoking weed. They have not been drinking at all. They have not been drinking coffee. They have been really trying to make sure that they are living a chemical-free lifestyle in this year of their lives. And it's been something that we have obviously been in conversation with a ton, whether we are at concerts or festivals together. And, you know, it's constantly kind of coming up because we're immersed in the culture, or just when we're chatting on the phone, you know, in our separate lives. Sax and Maddy live in Philly. I live in the Bay. So we chat as much as we can, and this stuff comes up. We've been talking about their sobriety. We've been talking about the differences between going to shows not on drugs and going to shows on drugs, living your life without your vices, things like that. And it's just been something that's been deeply interesting, deeply inspiring to chat with them about, and kind of hear how they've been going through it. And we both landed on kind of wanting to chat about this in a public forum. I've got the podcast here. I was like, would you guys ever be open into chatting about this? Because it seems like such a relatable experience to a lot of us in the scene. You know, people who go to a lot of live music know that drugs are just a part of that. It just you're around it, you see it. Even if you're not partaking in it, it's usually a place where it's a pretty ideal place to be taking drugs or doing something like that. And so, you know, just in talking with them about this, it's every step of their journey so far through it. The beginning stages of going to shows without, you know, sober, those first couple nights of coming home together after shows, and not, you know, winding down with smoking some bowls or something like that. It's been really interesting to talk about. And like I said, I feel like Maddy and Sax are not the only two people in our scene who have been messing around with maybe going sober for a little bit, or trying out some sober shows, or taking a run and dedicating yourself to being sober And that, we will talk about this in the beginning of this episode, but I just want to say, this is just Maddy and Sax's experience that they've been going through personally in the last 9 years. And I'm only talking to them through my own experience of my own sobriety or non-sobriety, and then people who have come to be sober or not so sober in my life. Okay, those are the only perspectives that are on this episode, so we can't speak to every single perspective around sobriety, which there are a ton of. And there's a lot of talk around like, what is the right way to do this, the wrong way to do this, what are the hard and fast rules. We get into that a little bit, but this was just meant to be a conversation about what Maddy and Sax have been going through together as a couple and also individually through their experiences of deciding to be sober for the last year. And I hope that this provides at least some context for your own life. I hope that we're not telling people you got to be sober. We're not telling people that you shouldn't be sober. We're just trying to have a conversation about what their last year has been. And in my mind, it's deeply interesting. And so that's why it's going on the podcast. I hope you enjoy this conversation that I have with Maddy and Sax. I've got another episode right now out with Benji Eisen. Benji is Bill Kreutzmann's manager and has been deeply tied to the Grateful Dead for a long time in his life. He's done a bunch of other cool episodes on the Osiris network talking about music, and I love listening to Benji in interviews. It is an honor that I finally got to chat with him on a recording and chat some music. And so check out that episode. That one is about best shows ever. And that one is a lot more about music, but hope you guys enjoy this episode. That's enough intro out of me. Here's some music from Loom. And do I even know how to do the end of my intro anymore? Probably not. All right, guys, enjoy this episode.
You burped in the waiting room.
I burped in the waiting room.
That's a good, clean, healthy, sober belch, though.
Exactly, and I'm having a
Healthy
Spindrift. Not sponsored,
oh, yeah.
Although I will take a sponsorship if they want to give me one.
I was gonna say maybe this will be it, and I'll finally get a corporate sponsor, and I'll have to do some little like plug every single episode. But they write.
I don't know if it was Spindrift, but Brendan got like a year supply from one of these companies.
No, it was like seltzer or something. Seltzer water. It was
seltzer water's not a brand. It's just a thing.
What's the one that doesn't taste very good?
I don't know.
Waterloo. I don't know. That's the one that Putt and Meg. We had to get like 3 cases when they came and stayed with us, and they still ran through all of them.
LaCroix?
No.
Waterloos.
Maybe
they like the Waterloo.
No, I think he's
I thought he was a Spindrift guy.
No, he's not.
Oh, he's a Polar.
He's a polar
guy. He's a polar guy.
That's what it is.
It's kind of like the natty ice of seltzers, you know? It's kind of like the fucking Rolling Rock of seltzers.
Okay, so what would be the natty daddy of seltzers?
I do think it's a Polar does feel like the natty daddy, but yeah, that's what we should talk about. We should, just compare booze products to not booze products.
I actually had a funny dream last night. I woke up in the dream. I woke up and I wanted to go back to sleep, and I just poured myself I don't drink, even like when I was getting fucking fucked up. I don't drink that much. But I poured myself a shot of Vermont liqueur.
Which is so good. It's especially very good
it's maple cream liqueur.
It's very good over vanilla ice cream.
Yeah. And I poured myself a shot. I went back to bed, all in my dream. And then I wake up later and we're driving to my grandma's house, who passed away years ago.
It's been like a year.
It's been like 2 years. And we get there. We get there, and Maddy is like fuming mad at me. And I don't have any idea why. My mom's like, "Oh, it's because you took that shot earlier." And then we ended up meeting up with my Cuban family, and Maddie and I fought so bad in the dream that the Cuban family had to leave, and we're like, "You're embarrassing."
Which
My
I feel
God,
like
dude.
that's impressive.
I know. We were slanging it, and like, we don't fight like that. I don't know what came of it in my dream.
We have like twice. And I remember I told Mike that we fought like that twice, and Mike was just like, I just can't picture you guys yelling at each other. And I was like, it's really unfortunately comical.
Yeah, I love the way you guys talk to each other. You guys are so very honest, but also sweet, but also kind of cutting sometimes. And me and Jeff love it, dude. Like,
I told Maddie that if I'm interrupting her today, just grab my dick and just twist it, and just so if you see her reaching over here, and I'm like, it's because I'm interrupting.
Yeah, it's perfectly below the camera line, so yeah, you guys can totally pull that off.
That we did that on purpose.
Hell yeah, your pants.
That's how I like
it. Dude, whatever's gonna help you, and just I no, he's got pants on.
He's got pants on.
That would be like you start getting into like very serious topics, and you're just sitting there, and I have the knowledge. Hell yeah! Well, guys, thanks for wanting to do this episode.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
This is a chat that we've been having a little bit. Like whenever we talk, I feel like we kind of check in on this aspect of your lives. That's been kind of like the last not full year yet. We're going to be celebrating that soon, but like nearly a year here, and I appreciate you guys wanting to kind of share what's been going on and how you guys been doing with being sober for this last year.
So far, sober.
Hell yeah. And I I'll probably mention something about this in like the intro of the episodes, but like none of us here are experts on sobriety. None of us, like, just your two experiences are your two experiences. That's what we're going to share today. It's not everybody's experience with sobriety. There's sobriety means a lot of different things to people, and you guys doing this for the last year together, to me, is a very noble pursuit and a cool check in on your life, sort of a move that I'm stoked to kind of dig in on recording about. For this.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're happy to be here. Happy Maddie is here as well. I know this is our second time doing this, and Maddie's first time being on camera.
I've never been on camera before, ever.
Yes, first time on camera ever.
And first time on your friend Cam's podcast, so that's pretty sick too.
The most important part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
the same podcast who only a year or two ago had the legend Barber on. Sorry.
Yeah, man. We didn't. I mean, far different times. And
you're in good company.
We're not. You know what? That part
might be a tough time to reach out for part 2 of that interview. But God, do I want to do that interview? Do another interview with those guys.
Having the Loom intro music, you should just have the diss track intro music.
Dude, I still haven't heard it. I still have not. Like when I click on the link, it doesn't show up, and so
you have to go to like Reddit comments where people have like downloaded it and then like uploaded it privately to like Imager or whatever it is. Imager.
I'm all right.
You're really good. No, you're really fine.
Yeah.
Like
I'm cool on that.
It and the worst part is it got stuck in my head for like 2 hours.
Yeah, that was the worst part, actually.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I'm gonna connect to it in some way that I won't be able to unconnect easily.
It's an issue.
I'm gonna play it live.
Man, Hula's gonna be crazy. This will come out after Hula, but I talked a little bit about how long it's been, but how long has it been that you guys have been sober, this packed together as a couple, and what's your recent milestone you guys just celebrated?
We started on February 15th, I think.
February 15th is the updated date.
When
you ask us about our first show, we will go into that with more detail.
Okay.
Things happened.
Oh, yeah. What a tease.
Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, February 15th is when we started, so we're currently like 8.5 months in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just over 2/3 of the way there. In November, we will be 3/4 of the way there.
Sweet.
Yeah, so we're getting through it. My birthday was in August, and it was on the 17th. And we pretty much celebrated that weekend. Was basically 6 months at Field Division, which you were there.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm still there.
It's like the weekend of the summer. It was like the best.
Yeah.
Been doing a lot of like looking back at the last year because we've been doing a lot of crazy stuff. That was like. His birthday's been pretty sweet the last 2 years, dude. Mondegreen and Field Division.
I've been looking at it. Next year, my birthday will be on a Monday. So if we're at one of these festivals, I'll still get that like the night 3 birthday celebration. But then after that, I think I have to wait 4 more years till it's on a weekend again.
Damn.
You gonna make it?
I think I'll make it. I think I'll. Yeah. I already this year was like how do I compare Field Division to Mondegreen even because they were both such good birthdays. Obviously, Field Division was better because Maddy was there.
Good answer.
Yeah, dude. The true Giz fan of you two, really. You know.
Yeah, really. She is. She is.
Yeah. And I made banana pudding out of a cooler, and that's a feat.
Man, there was a lot of banana stuff, but that banana really that banana pudding took the cake. Was that?
It was the cake, but
it really was. It was the cake.
It was the cake.
Yeah.
Really
excellent evening. Really cool celebration, and yeah. So this will come out like just right before you're like 3/4 of the way, and you got. And thank you for putting your foot on camera, Sax.
For free.
For free. At first we'll go behind the paywall like it should, but then after I'll put your foot out there for free. No problem.
Well, that's the thing. You give them a taste, and then they come back and they need more, and then I'm just rolling in the dough.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you should start your own little thing. Anyway, that's it seems like because we don't live near each other. I check in on you guys every couple months. We see each other, you know, and so I've kind of got to see along the process of the last almost 9 months of like how it's been like as your buddy going to shows with you guys and not partaking in anything. I'm talking no weed. I'm talking no vapes. I'm talking no nothing.
No coffee.
No coffee, which is crazy.
I've done coffee twice, and that's only been on like long road trips where I'm falling asleep at the wheel and I like have to be somewhere, and I'm like I don't have an option here in terms of that. But
and I will say there is like instant coffee in the cookies that I make, but it's like for the chocolate.
Most people wouldn't consider coffee part of it anyway. So
but again, some people do. I'm sure that there's like people are going to read sobriety on the title of this episode and be like, oh, no coffee. But I mean, like, we're just talking about how you guys have done the last year. I'm sure the people in the car that you were driving with, I don't know if I was in the car for one of those coffee. I
appreciated it.
I'm glad you drank coffee.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then you look at like someone like Zappa, who's like, all drugs are terrible, and then he's smoking 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and he's also like addicted to sex. And I know that real hardcore people who go through AA and stuff, like they tell you like avoid sex and relationships in the first year. First 2 years even. So I mean, ultimately, like it's more about brain chemistry than it is about like which nitpicky rules you're gonna follow, or like, I mean, that's the whole thing with the stigma in drugs. I know, like Tylenol's a drug. Like every single thing I eat food which has glucose in it, or my body turns it into glucose. That's a chemical. Like everything is a chemical at the end of the day. So it's just like what we as a society say. Oh, this is a drug. Oh, that's a drug, kind of thing. So I'm not saying that to be like, oh, well, I can do whatever I want and it's sober, because like we have a kind of understanding of what sobriety is. But like that's why, some people would say coffee, some people say no cigarettes, some people are like, you're going sober without coffee or cigarettes, you're fucking crazy. So every single person has their own, like... We
had a lot of people tell us, like, they were like, oh, you're going sober, and we were like, yeah, no weed, too. And they were like, whoa. Why?
Yeah, like when I was telling people I was going sober in the beginning, people were like, oh yeah, I just did a sober January. And I would like ask them about it. I'm like, oh well, no, I was smoking weed, obviously. Like I would just mean no drinking. Like So every single person has like a different definition based off of like what their relationship is and their brain chemistry is.
And we'll say, obviously, after whatever their take is, you know, they'll be like, well, obviously, like everything means sobriety. Yeah, obviously, you know, but it's not so obvious. But I think that the relationship thing that you bring up is interesting because you guys made this decision together and have been doing it together, and you've had your life partner that you've already had as your life partner. You guys have been living together for a while now. You guys have been together for a while now. You guys made this decision to do it together the entire time. How has that made it easier, or you know what goes into that? You know,
I think it's a lot less cruel to be like, I'm going sober, and then your partner's sitting there with a bong in their mouth, being like, hell yeah, buddy, I totally support you. That's so sick.
Dude, that sucks.
So
bong rip.
It's been nice to kind of like do that part of it together and to kind of like be on the same page with it.
Like we don't mind people smoking in the house. Like we're good guests. People will come over and
we have a clean bong for you.
Yeah, someone's like, hey, can I like take a line? And I'm like, dude, I just want to like, you're welcome to do whatever you want to do. This is like a personal thing on our end. But at the same time, it's easier not every single day having to be around that. Like knowing that like when a show weekend is coming, it's like, yeah, I'm going to be fine this weekend. And I know that I'm not going to do anything, but my whole thing is for both of us, this is such like a personal journey. And the last thing that I ever want to do is like put it on somebody else. Like we'll be at a show and someone will offer me a joint and I'll be like, oh no, I'm taking a break right now. And the guy will be like, oh, don't worry, I'll blow this the other direction. I'm like, you're already going too far. It's not that deep. Like I can also tell you firsthand, I don't know if it's a tolerance thing or what, but like the secondhand high that people talk about with like weed does not exist.
Yeah, what? That's you could like sit in a closet with someone else and not get secondhand high. You said you were secondhand high.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Rumor. Put it there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, growing up, my dad told me that it was like a real thing. He took me to my first show that I talked about on the last episode, the Rolling Stones show. Yeah. And like we smell weed going around, and he looks at me and goes, "Careful, you might." Maybe he was just fucking with me, and I was 15 or 16. But he goes, "I don't know. It's a real thing. You might get secondhand high." And like,
and you were like,
exactly.
Yeah, we've definitely like gone to a show with one of my uncles, you know, who like doesn't really go to a lot of concerts, and they're like, I swear to God, I was secondhand high after the show. It's like,
yeah,
you just had a really good time, man. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm glad to feel joy.
I was also like a first responder in high school through ski patrol, and a lot of those programs are run by like cops. So you get fed so much of the bullshit. Like the same thing with like the whole fentanyl scare of the cop who like touches the powder and then has a panic attack and passes out, and everyone thinks that he OD'd because he touched it. It's the same thing. Like people are like, be careful if you ever see someone who's sweating and with big pupils, don't touch their skin because you can get high through their sweat. And I'm like, I hugged so many sweaty, tripping people this year, and I have not gotten high once.
It's crazy how people hear something one time and then they live their whole life based off of that one thing. And so, like, it is important to talk about how like how things are going for this. Like, I think it's very cool that you guys are down to have this conversation, because I think that there's a lot of people within, at least just in our community of bands and shows that we go to, and then as a whole, like kind of thinking about what would being sober look like for me, like completely sober, like not having a glass of wine at the end of the night, or like maybe not even doing these shows that I kind of used to go to just so I could take drugs, you know. And now it's more important to me in a different way. And what would it look like if I just kind of cut the drug part out of it? What, you know? So how is both of you guys, like, how is your relationships to going to shows? Like at that first show, taking me back to that first show, like you guys are like, all right, we're sober now, we're going together, or maybe you guys are going separately. You guys are two very different show goers as well. It's, you know, you guys both have different styles and the way that you guys like to go to shows. That going into that first show sober, what were your like anxieties? What were your feelings about it? You know,
is that your polite way of saying that Sax likes to get fucking spun?
No, no, what Sax likes to fucking get down, and we'll go into the pit and spin around with everybody. And Maddy would prefer not. I would say Maddy would prefer to not.
I love being in the back and spinning and having no one speak to me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Our first show was a Widespread Panic show, and we were like
Wild
7
show
days.
to go to.
So fun.
Hard mode right away.
And our first Widespread Panic show.
Yeah, it was our first.
So it was
Widespread
like
Panic
it
show.
was so super exciting.
And
but
in Atlantic City too. Like I think you feel like you need something just to get through that place.
Yeah, what a nightmare.
Man. Yeah.
But we had done like the hard work. Like the first week is the tricky part, right? Because you're kind of kicking this habit, and we had like, we had taken like an outrageous amount of baths that week. Like we were just like eating. We were like barely hungry because we hadn't not smoked before eating for like maybe a decade. So we were like, anytime we were hungry, we were like, let's go. But like our first show that we went to, I was very anxious prior because I'm not that social of a person. I really like being around people, but then when it comes time to like actually partake in social dynamics, I'm a little like, oh man, this is like a lot of work.
Or it's like, this is a long night of this. Like, we've only been hanging out for 2 hours. I'm exhausted, and we will be hanging out until 4 a.m. Potentially. Like,
so I was pretty anxious about it going into it, but then honestly, like the second the music started, I was like, oh, this actually like doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's always been about the music. Like the people I'm around are beautiful people. They're not bothering me. Like as long as I don't have like someone in my ear at a show, I'm in good spirits. So
man,
it really like once the music started, it didn't matter.
Yeah. Sexy.
Yeah, I would say a similar thing. It was just kind of like a little nerve-wracking heading into it. But at the same time, I was still like, I had done a couple of sober shows here and there the year before, just kind of like experimenting with it. And then I would always like get home after the show and fucking like smoke weed as soon as I walked out. Right. But,
as one does.
Yeah. But I was a little bit nervous, but, the only thing that I feel like I had a larger issue with, and the thing that I still struggle with a little bit, it's not even, struggle is not the right word, is just my ADHD is so bad that I could be like truly, genuinely enjoying myself, and I will still be like checking the time on my phone and like wondering how long till the thing is over. Like,
dude, yes, same.
I can be like having the time of my life, and I'm like, okay, when's set break? Because I just need like something to just like, I just need a change of pace every fucking 10, 20 minutes.
Yeah, dude.
I've been training myself. I've been trying to just like watch movies recently with like my phone completely down and just like give attention. Like even when I'm drawing, like I'll draw for 20 minutes and then I'll go on my phone for 5 minutes and then I'll draw for 20 minutes, and just like my brain just needs to like be interrupted. And I think drugs definitely, all the different ones, help with just like getting lost in the moment, getting lost. Like only when I've been like real fucked up or just like, you know, tuned up to some degree, has the show ended and I've been like, what? It's over already?
Oh, yeah, right.
Like,
and you didn't look at your phone.
Yeah, usually I'm like fully aware, like, awesome, this is great, and we have like 20 more minutes, and awesome, like,
dude.
And that doesn't mean I'm not enjoying myself, but like that was just one thing that I knew that was going to be harder for me to drop in, and I've been that way ever since. Like, I'm sure everyone in school would be like looking at the end of the period when it's coming up, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, like. So that was one thing that that I felt like I dealt with a little bit more, especially that first show. But that first show was also the first day of the sobriety, because at Set Break, so we had been smoking these herbal cigarettes that Maddy had a while ago. It's like mugwort and like lavender and stuff like that.
Rose petals.
And all of that just to like help with the oral fixation. Yeah, the oral fixation. The oral fixation was a huge part of getting sober. It's like, what do I do with my hands? What do I do with my mouth? Like, so I also had one of those, like, I think Connor showed it to me originally, Long Strange Niche, but it was like the fake vape. It was just air, like flavored air. But But so we brought these herbal cigarettes to the show, and we were standing outside at set break, and me and Maddie were passing them back and forth, and I'm laughing and having a conversation, and we're hanging out with Tones, Paige Beam Connell, and
Owen.
and Owen, One Drop Design Studio, and someone hands me a joint.
When we finish our little...
I don't even think it was finished.
It was.
It was? Okay. And someone hands me a joint mid conversation, and like we're only a week into it at this point. I'm not even thinking, and I'm kind of like high for being at the show. Not high like, as like a contact high or anything. I'm just like...
Yeah, you just all fucking...
Yeah.
Just up there.
Yeah. And I take a hit, and the second it hits the back of my throat, I'm like, oh no.
Oh, that's...
Oh, yeah, that's pot. And I was like happy for a second because I was like, oh no.
Whoops.
And Maddie immediately goes, did you just? And I was like, I just. And she just like grabs out of my hand.
I said, oh no, poor me.
Like, if you get one, I get one. And then we kind of looked at each other after that, and we were like, do we just call this night off and start fresh tomorrow and just like...
do we go home and smoke tonight?
Do we just smoke a bunch of weed? And I was like... this is where I was probably the most proud of myself, the whole sobriety thing. I was like, no. Just because I took the one hit does not mean I'm going to finish the rest of this joint. And, because it had been 5 days, that's probably the first time I hadn't smoked in 5 days in like a year or two.
We were...
I got pretty high off just the one hit. Yeah.
It was wonderful.
It's really nice when you do that for yourself. But
what a luxury.
Yeah.
But also, like, you got to make a decision in that moment, and that will dictate then how you make decisions moving forward, right? Like for the next year. And so you're like, this is how we're doing this.
Exactly. And then what I was most bummed about is that, now coming up on this next year, we have to go 5 days further to get to a year.
Yeah. Damn.
I was like, damn, we lost those 5 days. We didn't really lose those 5 days in terms of...
Because we did a lot of hard work in those 5 days.
Yeah, the 5 days after the one hit of the joint were not nearly as bad as the first 5 days. And what it was after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. That was like, I was like, I'm going to smoke Super Bowl night because I can't not smoke if the Birds are in the Super Bowl.
I had made edible focaccia. So it was like infused olive oil, and then God, it's very good.
And I'm just sitting there. I'm just sitting there like eating it, like stoned out of my mind, watching the score go up, and I'm like, they're gonna find a way to lose this game. They're gonna find a way to lose this game. We're up like
the bread was just to cope.
Exactly.
The fact that you were in the Super Bowl and to deal with the anxiety of that.
Exactly. Yeah, so the day of the day of the parade, I didn't get stoned or anything. It was like, day 3 or 4. No, it was day 5.
Yeah. Because
the day of the Super Bowl was the day we went to the parade. It was the night we went to Widespread Panic. Gotcha. And the night that we messed up a little bit and had to reset it. So that's why it starts on the 15th of February.
I mean, all things considered, you guys could have had a pretty fucking big night. The parade day. I mean, Spurs won the Super Bowl. It's a big day in Philly.
Big day.
You guys absolutely could have made the decision to be like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, we are going to celebrate. We're about to do this whole next year, but tonight's going to be fucking crazy. And so, I'm proud of you too, man. Excellent decision. And like with all the context provided in not the easiest circumstances, you could have easily let it rip that night,
Yeah, I appreciate that. There's definitely part of it that was like, I can't just like have told everyone all of the first set that I'm like being sober, and then second set I'm just hanging out with Marina and Cass being like, will you hand me the spray? Like,
yeah, yeah, right. Oh, not so proud of you anymore, buddy. To be honest.
Exactly.
all the nice combos earlier. Ah, damn.
Exactly.
Not so awesome.
I know it wouldn't matter. Like, no one would care if we did mess up because it's like a personal thing. And if they did care, that would be on them, not us. Because, like I said, like it's a personal thing. But there was a moment where I felt bad, and like I went up to the.
You went to the sober table.
I went to the sober table and I just wanted to get it off my chest and actually explain to them the context of what happened, and they were like very understanding, and they were like,
"You're a week in, and you came to a Panic show."
The one guy at the table was like, "I took like 3 years off of coming to music until I was comfortable coming sober." So he was already like, "Kudos to you." Well, and then I was fine.
I'm sure it's a big worry of like, is this going to still be a big part of my life? Because this other thing was super attached to it the whole time, and it's also where I know how to get everything that I need to go to a show, or what I think I might need to go to a show. And it's a scary leap to be like, we're not going to do that. Also, that's why these resources are important. Sometimes, when you share things about sober tables, or people talk about the certain types of tablings that happen, like you see comments on Reddit be like, what do these guys even fucking do? Like, they just give free tickets to fish shows and they fucking, it's like, no, this is like exactly why we have this shit, so people in these really intense environments, that they're deciding to go to in a kind of a fragile state in their life, have a place to just talk about it. I'm sure that really helped, that resource was there for you guys.
All of the sober tables that we've like visited and been to have been wildly kind and accepting, and like everyone has shown up in such a state of just like curiosity of like, what's going on with you and how are you doing and do you need anything? Like, can we offer any support? And that's just like such a kind thing to know, that it doesn't really matter what state you're showing up in. They're always just there to listen, you know?
And they're super kind.
And it's nice to get a candy.
So I can now take that's what I was going to say. I can now take the candy without feeling bad about taking the candy.
Right.
Well, my dad, I would always go to shows with him, and my dad would be so stoned, and he would like be barely able to open his eyes, and he would go right up to the sober table and take like 5 pieces of candy, and I would like be apologizing to the guy at the table. I'm like, I'm sorry, I know that's not for us, and they never cared. They're always like, dude, take some, like, it's candy, just freaking have it. And I'm like, no, this is for people who need it, like. And they're like, no, it's cool. Like, your dad can have some candy. And I'm like, just the classic embarrassed by my dad. I'm like, let's not. The one scene that always placed in my head, it wasn't my dad, but it was at MSG. And I wasn't sober or anything at the time. But they always do the set break meeting at MSG New York for Fish. It's usually a pretty big sober meeting for that one. And they circle up, and it takes up probably like 70% of the width of the hallway. And it creates a little bit of a bottleneck to get around, which is fine because it's their spot. They're supposed to be there. But I just remember this kind of funny thing as I'm like waiting to go through the bottleneck. I see these 2 guys who are like barely standing up, and they just kind of like push through into the middle of the circle, walk across the middle of this big meeting circle, and then push through out the other side. And I looked on the faces of every single person in the meeting, and they all just like looked at each other and like laughed and shrugged it off. And they were like, one person was literally talking about like what it used to be like to go to a show and be unaware of his surroundings as that happened. And it was just like the most like, I don't know. I've always tried to be respectful of those spaces, even when I haven't been, not a member necessarily, but like benefiting off of them or using them as resources. So that just always plays with me in terms of like some people don't even, like you said, they ask why they're there. They ask like what's going on or that kind of thing. And there's not really a whole lot of judgment. The judgment is always, I feel like, one way from people who are not sober onto that table, because everyone at that table has been where the other people have been before.
Yeah.
Like they fully get it and understand it, and they're not projecting how they feel. I'm sure everyone is different, obviously. I'm painting with a broad brush here, but generally the people at the tables are less judgmental of the whole thing. And like you go there and you like try to justify something, or you go there and you try to be like, oh yeah, like I'm just, I'm getting sober next year or something like that. And they're like, cool. Awesome. Like, whatever you need. They're just generally good people. Shout out Isaac, who does a lot of stuff for like the dog pound. Isaac. Yeah,
the best.
Yeah. Really good guy.
Doing it solo a lot, And the thing is like when you've needed those resources in the past, or like when you've needed help in the past, or if you've like become sober at some point in your life, someone along the way was not judgmental and just helped you out get back on your feet. And so like that's usually then the disposition you're going to have moving forward is like, I'm going to not be judgmental because so-and-so who helped me out was like super cool and not judgmental, even though I was a fucking mess, man, And so, I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes it does feel like, especially when you're not sober, like actively not sober in the moment, and you're talking to someone who is sober, like the feeling is almost like, oh, you're like better than me, or like yeah, right. Like we've done that bit and stuff, but it's like, yeah, or like you think it's gonna be like this exclusionary thing, like, yeah, we don't want some like messed up fucking idiot in our sober group, but it's super.
And I'm like, how dare you deprive me of my entertainment? Like, that's so fucked up.
right, exactly. Well, I mean, you guys talked about like some of the things that ended up being great about some of the first shows, but like in the path, in the 9-month journey here, has there been some times where you're like, fucking, these shows are too hard, or this might be a little bit too difficult to like come to these shows, or has there been like annoyances or things that you've come across where you're like, wow, this is a little bit more annoying than I thought it was going to be, or any part of the change that has been uncomfortable?
For me, it's been like a pain thing because I have a nasty case of Lyme disease, and weed is such a godsend. And so, like, you know, to not have that resource, I've taken way more Advil this year than I've taken in the last like 5-6 years of my life.
Thank God she's not pregnant. Yeah. I'm joking.
And Sax, we're going to get to this, but your bits have been very strong since you went sober. Your bits have been enlightening.
They're better. That's the thing, is like for the last 2 years I've been looking at him and I'm like, you could be funnier. And it's like it's finally clicking. I'm like, yes. Anyway, but yeah, like the pain has been really annoying. The fact that like I'll be most of the way through like set 1 and I've been dancing, you know how I dance. And then I'll be just like, oh yeah, it actually like hurts to stand on my feet. And I don't want to not dance at a show. Like, and it's not because I feel like I should be dancing. It's because like I want to dance. So that part is hard. And especially at like festivals and that kind of thing, when I'm going on multiple days with no real recovery, I struggle with the pain. And like you saw that a little bit at Field Division. I had you and Jess like hold my hands and help me to go to the bathroom so I didn't have to put so much weight on my feet.
Help to walk you to the bathroom.
Well, yeah, I took care of the rest of it myself. But
we didn't help with that. You did all that by yourself.
Thank you. Thanks.
But your feet were killing you. We had to like literally walk you to the bathroom.
It's like really annoying, but it's all in all, like, that's kind of the biggest annoyance. Like, the rest of it has been really good. I don't, like, there's a lot of other pros, but we can talk about those later. But that's, like, my biggest grievance is the fact that, like, pain is definitely more present, but it doesn't stop me from wanting to be at the music or around the beautiful people that we go to shows with.
And I think that touches on what we were talking about earlier in terms of, like, medicine versus drug versus like definition, because for so many people, especially in the chronic pain community, weed isn't optional. Like, weed is like the thing necessary. The weed is the thing that helps them live their lives every single day. And so I'm very grateful that you don't need it to live, but at the same time, I
just need fish oil and turmeric and, you know, whatever, anything else anti-inflammatory. But like,
exactly. If after the sober year you find that weed is something that you just are a happier person day to day with, and even if, you know, doing the sober year you find a better balance, like you smoke at night or you smoke when you need it, or you decide to take more tinctures or whatever it is, you know, that's like a personal decision at that point. And you know, that's why a lot of people were saying, oh, even no weed, because so many people don't even look at weed as like a drug, a party drug. They just look at it as like medicine.
For sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that all three of us are in that camp. Like, we're all people who see it as something that is medicine, but it is something that you get high from. And then if you're deciding to get high, that's the decision to get high, you know? And then it's like, well, then why don't I just make that decision with the other shit that I'm also taking off of right now? You know? And so I'm super proud of you guys for not smoking weed. Like, for me, when in the summer, you know, you and us three go to a lot of shows. We do a lot of stuff. And so there are weekends where I'm like, I'm going to be sober this weekend, but I always allow myself weed during those weekends. I'm a daily pot smoker. I'll be a bummer if I'm going to the, like if I decide like that weekend I'm not going to smoke weed, like it's going to be rough to hang out with at the show. But you find other ways, like you were saying, through turmeric and fish oil and other natural ways that like feel good and feel sustainable and aren't Advil every day. But at the end of the day,
but
you're like, damn,
it's still like a lot. Like it's not my favorite thing to take a ton of pills versus just like having a hit of a joint.
Dude,
you know what I mean? But it's part of this year, so it's fine.
Right.
It's how it goes.
Exactly. Like in the name of like what you guys are doing, I like, again, super proud of you. Sax, any cons? Anything that you felt like
I was going to come back to that. Thanks for reminding me. I would say it's probably the festivals and like the real late night stuff, which I will still do and I'll still enjoy. But like, I'm grateful this year we didn't do quite as many 4-day camping festivals. Just especially, it's the falling asleep at the end of the night. It's easier when you're not tripping, but it is harder when you haven't like pushed yourself to the limit. Almost sometimes you need to like fall down from exhaustion to fall asleep. I feel like at those kind of events.
Dude, yes.
So that and just like, I don't know, those spaces. Maddie and I are on the opposite spectrum of this. Maddie almost doesn't like to get as high at festivals because it's already so stimulating and it's already so much.
And there's no recovery time.
And me, I'm like, this is the most possible immersed I can be in the culture right now. Like, I just want to be swimming in it, kind of. Like,
yep.
So those are the places sometimes where I'm like, man, when I think of like myself in high school and like imagining a perfect future is like lying in a hammock with music, getting stoned with all my friends. And I can still do 3 out of those 4 things. Which is why I still go, and I had the most wonderful time with all my friends at Field of Vision. But if you're asking me, would I have not liked to be like tripping maybe for that rattlesnake or for that dripping tap? Like, one of the things that I think I was talking with Maddie about is that like the highs are not quite as high, but in the same vein, in the positives, the lows are not quite as low. Like, you're not going to get that moment of like fighting through whatever you're going through and the universe like cosmically aligns for whatever, it's like the song you wanted or the lyric hits you in the right way. And, the music's still important and it still hits, but you're not going to have that like moment of divinity or whatever you have, or at least it's harder to get to. Maybe I'd have to be sober for a couple more years, I guess. But those, I'm not chasing those moments as much as I am just happy to be in this space. But at the same time, like, you're not going to have that moment of me at the Sphere, like holding on to the seat in front of me, trying not to fucking like the lows of like fighting through it, or like, should I have taken this acid tonight? Did I take too much?
How sick you get, or how off it'll make you feel.
Where's my pen? Where's my fucking bag? Or what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the little panics that happen.
Yeah. Like, not like you don't get any of that. So it's like, it's a more even process, and it's like, I think it's a more sustainable thing, long term, in terms of like just finding balance and like finding what works for you. I would be lying if I said I wasn't excited to take drugs at a show again at the same time. But I also like know that I'm going to come back to it with a better balance. I'm going to continue to do sober shows, especially like local things, like going to see Melvin Seals at the Ardmore, 20 minutes from my house. Like, those kind of shows, like, I don't need to trip for that necessarily. I don't need to, do other bad things. Not bad things, because everything is in moderation, right? Even moderation in moderation.
Yep. Hell yeah.
But just like finding an even balance of just like being able to enjoy a concert for what it is, and not like needing to find not necessarily chasing the next epiphany, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Or you made an interesting. It was kind of a joke. You said maybe I need to be sober for longer to get there, but just kind of implies that like, taking psychedelics or doing these types of extracurricular activities. We won't call them bad. We'll just call them extracurricular. Make it a little easier to get to that place of, oh shit, and this means this, because of, you know, and this song is because of this and this conversation that we had, and oh my God. And then that feeling of when you're walking out of a show, just being like, tonight is so special and different, you know, than everything else that's ever happened. And, you know, or did you just take some acid, you know, and it's, and it's like, was a good night, you know, was excellent, but also, you know, you had a good time on what you took. And like, that being a part of, you also mentioned the culture. I think those two things in tandem, like, can you be like, Sax, your art is so synonymous with the jam band culture and like psychedelic culture in general. And Maddy, you are someone who is, you love to be within the Deadhead scene and the hip, like the a shakedown is home for you, or people spinning is home for you. Like, these are areas where psychedelics are encouraged and, you know, probably help. Like, in speaking about like the culture and getting to these places of like epiphanies and stuff, like, how essential do you think it is? Because you've still produced a ton of art this year, Sax. That's been some of your best work. And you guys have still been in these spaces and been able to connect with each other as a couple, connect with, like, I feel like I've connected with you at these festivals in a deep way, despite us not both being on mushrooms, you know. The conversation has still gotten deep, man. And like, what, you know, have you, like, yeah, talk a little bit about like your connection to the culture and your like in relation to not taking drugs. Like, do you feel disconnected in that way?
I don't.
Yeah.
I get what Andrew's saying when he's saying like the highs are not as high and the lows are definitely not as low. Like, I do not miss the crash out mid festival of being like so exhausted and being like, fuck, I'm gonna take another tab tonight. Like, you know, but like,
does
the
everybody
high
hate me? Fuck.
But like, I still feel like these highs and these moments of like, part of why we love the scene is like this feeling of like divine connection with like our community, with the music, with the world around us, and also like how it plays into our day-to-day life. Like, what are we taking from this show and bringing back to get us to the next show, kind of thing. And I don't think that has really stopped. And I like there's been many moments throughout this year where like dancing at a show, dancing at a fest, it's just been like this outrageous connection to this greater practice of being alive. And I don't think like being sober has given me like a different lens to look at it through, but it's still the same thing. Like, it's still exactly that. It's just connection.
Mm.
And I think sometimes when you do extracurriculars, you're kind of like, it almost feels like you have to like wade through the work a little bit to get there. And then this year it's felt like there's a lot less waiting and a lot more just like existing within it, which has been really nice.
Yeah.
So
Super well put. So well
yeah,
put.
the culture is amazing and gracious and has been nothing but wildly helpful for us.
It kind of reminds me of a meme I saw recently. It's like someone sitting in a hammock in paradise, and it's like being sober, and the guy's like, "This sucks," and then the other one is like a guy like sitting. It's the dog sitting in the burning house, and it's like being on drugs, and he's like, "This is awesome." Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I think Maddie's right on with that point of like, I think a lot of it is the same. It's just how you come away feeling about it, or how you come away, just, you know, with ideas and motivation and inspiration. And you know, one thing that I say a lot in terms of how I feel this year is like, sometimes last year and in years past, I feel like my head may have been too up in the clouds, but this year it feels like my feet may be too firmly planted to the ground. And in my line of work, I feel like you have to have like a kind of happy medium. And I do think that I have been making some of my best work this year. And I don't know if some of that comes from being sober, or if some of that just comes from natural progression of, like, if I was using that, I'd still be progressing anyway, because it's just not like more about chronological progression than it is about like what is going on inside my head.
Sure.
but yeah, like you said, we've had some of those really honest and deep conversations, and I've had moments where it feels like everything is lining up, and I still might not have walked out of the show with that like, oh my god, kind of like acid epiphany feel. And I think that like both things can fully be true. Like you can walk out of the show and it can be like on acid and be like everything is perfect, everything is lining up exactly, and that can be exactly what's happening. And you can also just be someone who's on acid. Like just it's just kind of like Maddy said, a different lens through which you can look at things and through which you can feel things. Nothing in the world has actually changed. Like I still kind of look at, you know, reality is kind of like this matrix that we live in. I'm not saying that we're in the matrix like Neo in the movie The Matrix, but just like reality is like what we make of it. It's manifestation. Like when you look at like science, none of it makes any sense once you go far enough down. Like we have the scientific explanations for it. We don't have the scientific explanations for why. Like we are just beings made of cells made of atoms, and then you just go far enough down, and like all of that makes sense on paper. But then you look at why it makes sense and why we're here, and you still come away with the same like, you know, a lot of people who've been really deep on acid or other things, like, you know, we're all light beings, or we're all, you know, everyone's divine. Like a lot of the things a lot of people take away from both, you know, sober Eastern spirituality and also like the DMT trips is like, I am the universe experiencing itself, more or less. And that's not something that I've lost by being sober, but it is something that like I might exclaim with less fervor to everyone who will listen, because like I get it and it's cool, and there's nothing, I'm not gonna like change anyone's mind by going out and screaming it. But sometimes when you're tripping and you're sober, you have to like grab the person next to you and like explain this deep trip that you've just been on, try to explain it to somebody. So I think there's value in both things, and it's just kind of like how you're looking at it. But I think, you know, truth exists as like an object in the middle of the room, and depending on where you're standing in the room, everyone can walk away with something different. That's like those pieces of art that like when they're hanging from the room, you stand on one side and it's like an elephant, but when you stand on the other side, it's a giraffe or something like that. And it doesn't matter, you know, every single person looking at the thing comes away with a different understanding of what it is, but it doesn't change what the thing is in the middle of the room. The constant is still the same. You know, music is still like the vibrational frequencies of life. And, you know, this whole world and cosmos came into being based off of like vibration and harmonic frequencies that kind of like brought the earth together. And that's like, you know, we don't know what gravity is, and I know I'm getting deep here with all this stuff.
What do you mean we don't know what gravity is?
We know what gravity is in terms of we can measure its constant, but we don't know what causes gravity. Okay. That's all.
Or the why that you were talking about. And I was just going to say, Saxy, it sounds like you have not in the last year needed psychedelics to land on some pretty heavy epiphanies about the why of what we're doing here. And like,
that's all I meant to say. We know what gravity is.
I'm like, honey, the Earth is round.
But like, you know, we don't understand so much of why everything is all I'm trying to say.
Science and magic go hand in hand.
And exactly. And there's that famous quote that's like, sorry, go ahead.
Psychedelics can kind of act for us, especially, you know, people who are trying to figure out why we're here, and we're, you know, don't have as much experience as some of the old heads in the scene and stuff like that. But like psychedelics feel like this sacrament of getting to some of these answers a little more quickly, or like I'm able to like now that I'm on high on this drug, like now I'm going to be able to like tap into this deeper knowledge that you're speaking to, Sax. But this is something that you're able to tap into kind of anyway. Like this is something that you are kind of, what you're saying is like, I intuitively know these things. Like these are something that I already have an understanding about and have been able to expound on a little bit in this last year, even while being sober. And, you know, you are an artist, and, you know, everyone is in search of like who they are as a person, but the artist is constantly in search of who they are as an artist. And that's something you and I talk about constantly. I feel like you and I are always, that's what we chat about, is art shit and growing as, you know, in our own little things, you know. But it sounds like you've been able to get closer to knowing that even in this last year, without psychedelics, without this sacrament of, you know, now I'm going to get to this deeper knowledge, and now I'm going to tap into this deeper knowing and deeper grounding, you know, type of thing.
There's this thing that we come back to a lot in yoga, and one of the things is like, yes, yoga teaches us how to like move our bodies, how to stretch our muscles, how to use our breath, how to quiet the mind. But like the most important lesson that it always gives you is that everything that you need, you already have. Like it's already in there. You kind of just need to like chill the fuck out a little bit and like find it. So like sometimes taking acid can feel like when you reach that peak pose and you're like, wow, I can do this. And there's like this amazing divine connection. But like there's something so like it's the same thing. No matter what, everything is always like all the way in there. You kind of just need to like slow down and come back to it. So
getting high can feel like you take that weight of yourself off of yourself. You know, like you get, like you said, your feet are too firmly on the ground, Saxy. So like feels like sometimes you need to be able to disconnect from your normal line of thinking to like become the best artist you can, or the best person you can, or like this better like version of yourself, now not encumbered by the weight of sobriety, you know. But like what you guys are trying to get across, it sounds like, is that like you have all of these answers for yourself anyway. It's about becoming comfortable with yourself, becoming a little closer to yourself without that stuff, you know, is a
and that was key. Part of it for sobriety, at least for me, was I was kind of like, I want to be able to know myself in a very like true and honest way of like, I want to be able to experience the things that I think that I love and know for sure, like, do I love them without aids? You know, like, do I love yoga? Do I love, you know, music? Do I love being around other people? Like, these are all things that I was like, what if it's not, what if it's a lie? What if I've been like lying to myself this whole time? And like getting sober has very much like confirmed that all of these things are very true. Like, I really enjoy the community that we've built. I really like going to music will forever be one of the best things out there. And like, and of course, obviously, like I love yoga at the end of the world, but it's another story.
Yeah. But now you really know. You know?
I know.
Now you know. Man, like I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts on this last year, you know, or this last upcoming, it's about to be a year here soon. Just been excellent to be around you guys throughout this journey and watch how you've grown, and also watching how you've leaned on each other as a couple. It's been super inspiring to me and Jess. We talk about it all the time. This has been a very vulnerable thing to do. I really appreciate you guys being willing to share.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
It's a pleasure to do it.
I feel like we've gotten an immense amount of support from all of our friends and a lot of people in the community. Like, you are not the first person to come up and tell us what we are doing has been inspiring. But it's like, and I really appreciate hearing that, because it affirms that like maybe we're doing something
that we needed to do.
That's a good way of saying it. But at the same time, like, I also, the best thing about this is like what we're getting out of it for ourselves. Like, it's not about external validation or anything like that. You're like, right. We're talking about how this is a vulnerable thing, but I feel so very comfortable talking about it. There are so many moments this year where, like, especially like the first couple of times we were going to shows together, like where you or Jordan or somebody would like do like an acrobatic to like pass the joint like over my head or like around me, underneath me, and I'm like, I can.
You saw that? Okay. Oh, you saw me do that? I thought I was so sneaky, dude.
It's like, include me in the party. I can at least pass it along.
Yeah, like this is such a personal thing. I wouldn't be here if I didn't think that I could handle it. But at the same time, I really appreciate everyone for, you know, being so kind and going out of their way to like talk about, you know, what what it means to them or how it's been inspiring to them. Because that's not why we did it at all, but I guess it's a little bit of affirmation that.
And it also opens up all these conversations of people like who have struggled with what their own usage looks like, whether that means like full sobriety or partial or whatever the heck, or just trying to like cut back in certain ways. Like, it's been nice to see like all of the gray area that it exists in, because I've been around like certain sober communities where it's like it all feels very black and white, which is helpful and necessary for those who need it. But for us, I don't think it's a helpful thing necessarily to think in that binary. So it's been really nice to be in these communities with people who are like, yeah, it's a long life. Things are gonna happen. You gotta figure it out. You gotta take tries.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly like on the flip side, it has not been all sunshine and rainbows in terms of like the external support that we're getting. I almost think of like one of my favorite Simpsons quotes from like an old Treehouse of Horror, where it's like he's too much of a boy for Crazy Town, but he's too crazy for Boys Town. The child was an outcast. It's like for some people, like they have who really like to party. We
make them uncomfortable.
We make them uncomfortable. Like they're like the "what are you better than me" kind of thing. They don't say that verbatim, but it's like
you feel it.
You talk to them about we're doing a sobriety, and they're like, why? A year? What? And in the same vein, you have people on the sobriety side of things who are like, oh, you're not planning to do this forever, then you're not really sober, kind of thing.
You're vacationing here.
You're vacationing here.
Yeah.
You don't live here. You're not in recovery.
Yeah.
And
which both are super unfair. Both of those reactions are so fucking unfair.
But and you have to just learn that it's not about you at all. Like some of these recovery spaces, I still like fully believe in for those that need them, because there are people who have such a hard time with these things that they like we were talking about. They can't go to shows for a number of years because they have to learn how to exist independently without those triggers. And like there are some people who are like having this conversation in and of itself, like the idea that there could be room for balance with using and not using would be their addiction telling them that they need to start using again. And if they have a bad enough addiction where it starts affecting their lives and things start falling apart, like don't get me wrong, I like to get real messed up. Like I would get to the points where like I couldn't really speak, but at the same time, I've never missed a deadline for like a work project. Like it never affected my life in a way that was like tangibly making the lives of people around me worse, except for like a couple of choice occasions towards the moment of like we needed to get sober for a minute, which was just like wake up call kind of thing to find a better balance. And if we go back to extracurriculars, depending on which ones we go back to, if I start to notice those patterns again, I feel like this year has been a tremendous amount of research on both like finding a better balance, knowing that like, at the end of the night, you don't have to finish what you started. You could like save some for the next day kind of thing, or being like, I know that I could do a year off. If I need to do a month off, that's nothing going forward at this point. Like, so like recovery is not a one size fits all situation, but a lot of the stuff like with AA and NA, and in high school I got caught sneaking into a casino and I had to go to GA, Gamblers Anonymous. Like you sit down there and I'm like 18 and I'm like, hey, I don't think I have a gambling problem, but I'm here because I'm court ordered to be here. And every single person went around the room was like, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to us. You have a serious problem. And I know Maddy recently went to an AA meeting to support a friend.
Well, and I also, she showed me, because she was like, I want you to know that this is a resource available to you, and I appreciate that.
Sure.
So I went and I gave it a shot, and I had some really interesting conversations. And all in all, I thought it was like there was a lot of beauty in it and a lot of like wonderful community, and I can see why it helps and works for a lot of people. But there were a lot of elements that I was like, I don't think that this is true in my life. And when I said that, there were people who were like, oh, you're just in denial. And I was like, oh, I actually don't think so.
But at the same time, those spaces need to exist because there are people who are in denial, and there are people who seriously struggle with like maintaining relationships and maintaining, work-life balances and survival life balances, with substances, especially like alcohol and things like that.
Alcohol's tricky.
And that's why I would never like blanket statements say this is bad or that's bad, but just that recovery is, like I said, not a one-size-fits-all situation. Like for me and Maddy, it's looked like taking a break, and also life is long, and we're going to take it one day at a time. And if we feel like we're getting to a point where things are coming out of balance, then we'll try to course correct in that regard. Sure. But last thing I'll say before I hand it back off to Maddy is that I read a kind of a story recently about, and you see it all the time on like forums and stuff about people smoking weed, and someone's like, I'm going to take some time off of smoking weed. And someone's like, yeah, weed just makes my life better. It's like seasoning my food. Like I can go a year without seasoning my food, but why would I?
When garlic exists.
When garlic is there.
Yeah.
It is like that, and it's not like that. It's And that's all you guys are trying to say, that it is, and that's why we mentioned that off the top of this episode here. Like, the way that you guys are doing it is great for you guys. And this has been a journey of self-discovery and understanding yourselves better from a sober mindset and perspective, and your relation to like every part of your life with that. And so that doesn't really have to do with anybody else's path or with anybody else's mode of operation. But I'm like, in the way that you guys have dedicated to what you've decided to do, it's been like, that's what's been inspiring about being around you guys. Not just that you're sober at a show and it's like it's not like inspiring like in the way that you like ran a marathon and I can't believe you did it. It's like it's inspiring.
We would never do that to ourselves.
Yeah, it's inspiring in the way that like it's a consistency thing, and it's been like a growth thing, and it's been you guys really dedicating yourselves to knowing yourselves. And I think that is something that is largely not done in the world. I think that people maybe sometimes think that they do that, but like to really know yourself is like difficult work. To really understand your traumas and your hangups and the way that you react to things, and like the way that you move through the world. That's a little bit too difficult for people to like fully understand sometimes, because there's a lot of pain there. And so, and being sober, there's no blunting the pain there. And so I think that it's not just as simple as like, I'm not going to get messed up sometimes, and sometimes I am going to get messed up. I think it's like knowing you guys and what this journey has been to you personally. I know it's been a road of like getting to know yourselves and each other within your relationship. And so that's crazy vulnerable and very difficult to do. And, if anyone has like negative thoughts on that, again, that's a little bit about them, kind of like you were saying. It's a little bit more about that.
Well, from either way. So did you want to say the one thing about like a whole new you?
Oh, I do. But I also wanted to say that I have two things to say. So maybe actually, I think I have three. So the first thing is, at the AA meeting that I went to, it was very beautiful. And we had this great discussion on spirituality and what it feels like to really like find that higher power, and almost like, I don't want to say like relinquish to it, but like to truly kind of be like, this is like, we're just part of all of this,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were talking about how they did the third step, and that was, they repeated their prayer for it, and that kind of ended up sinking in with them. And I was talking to this woman after the fact, and I was like, I feel like I was very anti-spiritualism for a very long time, because I grew up around Christians and Mormons, and it really threw me in the other direction. And it wasn't until I kind of came to the dead and like really got comfortable with this, like there's just something greater than us that we tap into. And I was telling this woman about this, and I was just like, it was actually like the Grateful Dead that kind of brought me back into spiritualism, and like being able to kind of give myself over to that higher power or whatever. And she looked at me and she said, I don't think you can be a sober deadhead. And I was like, oh, no.
Oh, are we all talking about things we don't know about right now? Because a whole bunch bunch of deadheads that are sober.
I know, it's like, it's so funny. There's actually enough of them that they have a nickname. Like,
That's the whole thing.
There's like set breaks for meetings every single show, but no, we don't. They don't exist.
Massive, huge sober community within the yeah.
So that was one of the like black and white thinking things that I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Okay. But the second
set breaks, by the way, set breaks way easier.
Way easier.
Wow.
Set breaks are way easier.
Please speak on that.
Oh my god.
I'm interested.
Set breaks were always like the dread, because you're like, okay, now I have to speak to people. I know that I'm high. I have to communicate. I have to read the room. And what a nightmare that is to do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do.
Interpersonal relationships, I'm like, wow, this is so tricky. And I know that I want to talk to people because it's set break and I don't want to talk during the show. But like, to actually do it, it's like, it was such a nightmare for so many years. And now set break comes around and I'm like, amazing. Easy peasy.
You're like this. You're so cool. You're so able to talk to whoever about whatever, and everyone's being so fucking weird.
I can read social expressions now, and I'm like thrilled. I'm like, I know what that face means, and it's not a good or a bad thing, but I can read it, and that's
it's not scary or whatever. It doesn't.
Or daunting. Yeah. No, totally.
Me and Jordan and Sean, and I think we extended it to the from Long Range Pot. We extended this to a bunch of other people in the group. I don't know. It's been a little while since I've had to use it. But if any of us were way too high to talk at set break, we would use the diver's code and just be like, "You okay?" Like, I am okay. I am not opening my mouth.
Got it, buddy.
But at SPAC this year, Jordan looks at me and he goes, are set breaks not scary anymore? And I was like, they're not actually. Like, they're totally fine now. And he was like,
man,
wow. I was like, yeah, dude, it's like kind of sick. The other thing
I bet there are some socially awkward people listening right now that are like, interesting.
Because you can also be like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And it's like not scary. It's like there's no like big adventure anymore where you're like, I'm splitting off from the group, wish me luck on my journey. You're like, I'm just gonna go pee.
Oh dude, seeing Bob Ware and the Wolf Bros at Radio City Music Hall, impossible to find the bathrooms in that building if you don't know where they are. And because there's lines for beer, this was just a while ago.
Oh,
you were not there.
Okay.
There's like lines for beer, there's lines for everything, there's lines for merch. And I don't want to. I'm like afraid to like walk to a front of a line because I'm tripping so hard to like see what people are waiting for, and I don't want to. And I'm like afraid to open my mouth and ask people. And like if you're sober, you're fine. Like, oh, is this line for the bathroom? Yeah, cool.
Then when you're like high on psychedelics, and you're like, I'm so sorry. I don't know. You're like stepping like really. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a time, like one of the first times Kyle and I see Dead and Co together in like 2017, we are going through the security line to go into the show, and we've waited in it. The line is forever. The line is forever. They've only got one gate open. Kyle and I took our acid so long ago. We're both so high, and we're going through and Kyle has tickets for Friday, and we're there on Saturday, like physical and like so. We don't have tickets, and like we like just to turn around and figure out how to walk to the box office was like we were both like
yeah.
And when we got through this little fence area, and the group of people that was like in line behind us cheered for us when we went through the fence because we were making it look so difficult because we were so stunned. And
honey.
yeah, people were like, yeah! And I was like, that was for us. Fuck. Oh, God. All right, so that was my conversation with Maddy and Sax about their sobriety and about their experiences about going to shows in our culture without a major part of the culture involved, which is drugs and chemicals and stuff. And so I hope that this was at least educational. I hope that it's relatable for some of you who have either been attempting to be sober recently or have at least been maybe noodling on being sober yourself. I love Maddy and Sax. They're some of my best friends in the world. I think they're incredibly grounded folks, and also deeply heady. You know, Sax does not need mushrooms to get off into talking about the cosmos and why we're all here. Like that, this kid is a deeply heady individual, even without psychedelics. And so it was excellent to talk with both of them. Um, if you are someone who is struggling with sobriety and you're looking for this resources or outlets in your life and you just don't know where to look, there are plenty of resources for you. You are not alone, and there are folks that are ready and want to help you out. You can check out any like the SAMHSA hotline. That is a 24/7 completely free hotline that you can call, talk about your mental health, talk about where you're at right now with yourself, and they can get you resources to help out with your mental health, help out with your addiction. Obviously, if you are still going to shows and you are trying to have an experience like Sax had, talking to a sober table, and this is a new concept for you, and you don't know what that is, look for the yellow balloons at any given show that you're at, whether it's Widespread Panic or String Cheese Incident or Dogs in a Pile or Eggy or Goose or Fish, dead shows. Obviously, like Fish has the Fellowship, and the Dead have the Wharf Rats, but these are communities that are in every single one of these groups that you're going to see right now. So go find yourself a table that's got some yellow balloons around it. Those people are your one show at a time folks who can at least chat with you about where you're going and maybe even give you some more resources and point you in the right direction of some places you can head with that, like Music Cares or Backline or any of these places that are doing incredible work providing mental health resources for folks. Another thing that I just really want to quickly speak to, I know that right now in our country, it feels helpless and hopeless to fight back against some of the very difficult and horrifying images that you're watching on social media every day. I know that's where you guys find my stuff. It's on Instagram, and that's also where you're finding videos of ICE raids and videos of families being torn apart and watching our administration just fucking eat their cake right in front of you and build a fucking ballroom and shit like that. Just know that even in that scenario, that can help really speed up your mental health decline and all of that kind of stuff. Know that you're not alone in this way. There are also community resources for organizing and meeting up with other like-minded individuals where you live, wherever that is. It could be you could be in the South, you can be out here where I am in California, you can be up in Chicago, you can be out in New York or somewhere on the East Coast. There are people in every organization or in every community around this country organizing protesting efforts and getting information to people about what's happening in our country, because as simple as that sounds, it takes a huge community effort to push forward social change and to push forward change in this country on a community level. And so if you are feeling helpless right now, watching some of the bullshit that's going on in our country, and you don't know what to do about cities like Chicago, or you don't know what to do about, you know, what our government is deciding to make sure that we think is important, like deporting immigrants and, being shitty towards trans people, that you're not alone. And sometimes when you're on the internet by yourself, it feels like you are alone in your fight or in what you believe in, because then you read comments and it seems like there's a lot of people banding together on this other, for evil bullshit. Know that there's community around that. Find yourself at a protest if it's going to be announced coming up, and make sure that you have yourself educated on what's coming up on your local elections and what's on the ballot in your local elections. I know that we all land differently on how important all of this stuff is, and whether or not I'm even qualified to talk about it. I'm not saying that I'm qualified to talk about it. I'm just letting you know that there is hope, and you can do things for yourself through organizing and reaching out to resources. And so hopefully this episode gives you the resources if you're looking into sobriety, if you're looking into helping out with your own mental health and becoming healthier and well in that way, or if you are worried about the state of our country, and you're worried about the state of your community, there's organizing efforts within them. Look them up, find them, be a part of them, sign up for them, get the emails, get the text chains going, and get yourself involved, and that will make you feel so much better. Thank you guys so much for listening to this entire episode. If you listened through my little soapbox thing at the end here, thank you so much. And until next time, guys, have a great show.